I'm the type of person where like you can see my emotions on my face, so I'm just like try to be graceful, let me look down, but like I can't help my bitch face because like I'm getting annoyed. I just want to say I am never getting married ever again. Like this whole wedding stuff, this whole marriage between me and you, this was a one and done deal. Like I'm not doing this again. Okay?
Okay. We just had our last event finish in September, but we've been getting married all year long.
Literally, like we're not even exaggerating. We had a total of 9 events, 9 wedding events.
I can't even imagine sitting through 9 events, but I've done it, and it was a lot. It was a lot to go through. But
and we're gonna get right into it. So I'm Shampa.
And I'm Furkan. Welcome to the Coffee versus Chai podcast.
Yes, welcome. So we have a list because it is so long, the amount of wedding events that we had, but we literally had the definition of the big fat desi wedding. And it was just madness. Like me just living across the country while he was in New York, and like wedding planning when you're cross country was such a challenge that like I just felt like as the bride, I was very removed from a lot of it, so it wasn't hitting me too much. But you basically took on a lot of the responsibility because like if you were not planning the wedding, I feel like the wedding would have never actually happened.
I did take on a lot of the responsibilities. Getting those halls booked was the biggest one out of all of them.
Yeah.
Just finding one, getting it booked, getting catering, getting decorations ready. Like, it was a process to go through all of that.
Yeah.
And I feel like they'll be kind of confused by the cross country. Right now you're bi-coastal, so just in case they would get confused on that part. But
I am in LA, but at the time he was in New York.
Yeah. So back to the responsibilities. It was a ton. It was like just from the very first booking of a hall, going into each place, each venue, and just deciding that, okay, this is where I want my mehndi done, this is where I want our wedding done. Like, getting those things done for us, it took a lot because the decisions that needed to be made, they were big decisions. There was nobody around. I could call you, but
we
like,
were FaceTiming. Like there were so many times, like at like one of the halls, we were choosing out like table chair covers, like the color of the table chairs, and I'm there on FaceTime, and I'm like, yeah, like the red one, the maroon one looks great, sure.
But even those little details, they did add up together, though.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
at the end, it made sense.
At the end, just walking into those venues, seeing those tables set out, seeing that stage lit up, each part of the process, even though it was hectic, and I wouldn't say it was like going through hell or anything like that. It was just so much that needed to be done preparation-wise.
Yeah, and I don't care whatever your parents say. Like, it doesn't matter. Your parents could be so excited. They could be so excited about you getting married, and then when the time comes, they don't know shit. Like, they don't know how to plan anything, and they make it such a big deal your whole lives that they're gonna, like, do this for your wedding, do that for your wedding. Hello, what happens? What happened to the decision-making?
Well, you know what? I agree, but at the same time, my mom did do a lot.
Yeah,
so
your mom was so amazing.
So my mom flew all the way to Pakistan, and she got all the mehndi clothes, she got the jewelry, she got all the girls' clothes, like she got a ton of stuff. She brought back like 6 bags full.
Yeah.
And I was just like, damn.
Yeah. My parents didn't go, but we had relatives that were still there that were planning on coming to the wedding. So we got everyone's like sizes for custom outfits beforehand, and then we just like placed the order in Bangladesh, and we got like matching sharis for everyone. We got the jewelry, we got everything. So shout out to my relatives that really brought all that stuff back. Yeah.
Well, shout out to all the relatives that helped my mom back in Pakistan too, because she was all alone out there.
Yeah.
And without my relatives helping my mom, that none of this would have been gotten done. So
Yeah.
and you know what? I love the fact that we did get like a bunch of stuff from Pakistan because, for example, your nikah dress, absolutely beautiful. Like,
And his mom didn't go for that. Like, you had relatives in Lahore help coordinate that. And
Yeah.
then they brought the dress back, like my literal wedding dress back.
yeah, and on the day of, that dress came out stunning.
Yeah, I was stressed because I did not see the dress at all. And, like, you know, there's only so much you can see on your wedding day, you know, because it's like your mind is so chaotic. But I saw the dress like a week beforehand. Luckily, thank God, all the measurements fit. Like that, I think that's like the biggest concern. Like if you're like a thicker girl and you're getting like custom measurements, like everyone has that petrified feeling of what if the dress doesn't fit. And that was like my biggest concern. But luckily, like it looked amazing.
Yeah, I think before we even get into like each event and talk about everything, I really think like I might be speaking for you in this part, but as a woman getting married, for you to be bi-coastal and flying back and forth and getting things like that, like making sure that your nikah dress fits you or certain jewelry is the right thing to wear, like that's a lot of stress that you had to deal with.
And I was going to New York literally every single month. Like ever since I moved to Los Angeles, like I've been in New York every single month.
Yeah. And literally, I think you needed to be there at least for the past 6 or 7 months while we had those 9 events going. You had to be there every single month.
Yeah. So let's like get into what events. So I'm just gonna list out all the events we had.
Okay.
We had the Batbaki, which was kind of like a confirmation that yes, we will get married to each other. We had the proposal. We had Huluds, which is like the pre-celebration of the wedding. And that was one of them. Well, we had each one. We each had one, so that was 2. And then we had the nikah, which was our religious and legal ceremony of us actually getting married. Then we had fast forward to the summertime. We had the huge mendi pre-wedding celebration. We had the reception, and then after the day of the reception, we had a kind of like an event at my house and kind of like a little event at your house. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah.
And then we had the walima. So that's a total of 9 wedding events.
I still can't believe we got through all of that.
Yeah. So let's talk about the first one, the Batbaki. So do you want to explain what the Batbaki is? Because that is like the Urdu word or phrase for that event.
So a Batbaki is just you could say it's a promise or a confirmation that 2 individuals are coming together to get married.
Like your dad is asking my dad for permission that you can marry me.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, in a sense I would say so, but like it's actually me asking for permission, but my dad is doing it on my behalf.
Yeah.
And that day I remember everybody in the car was just filled with goosebumps.
Yeah.
Because we obviously, you know, we had an understanding that this is all kind of pre-planned, like we're all going to, like my dad's gonna ask for your hand.
Yeah, it's not like romantic in the movies. Like we're like, oh my God, let's run away and get married. Like no, there's a lot of planning involved.
There's a lot of planning involved.
A lot of verbal confirmation.
Yeah, but while on that car ride, we were still filled with goosebumps because, well, I'm getting married and none of us have gone through that process. So just going through that first initial step of doing this confirmation was a really big one. And arriving at the house, and I remember when I walked in, I saw you in the doorway and you were like peeking, like you were either peeking now or you were like accidentally you were just standing there and then you just went right back inside.
Oh, my heart was pounding. Like I was literally locked up in my bedroom. Like my heart was pounding. I was like, oh my God. I don't even know why. Like, why was I even stressing out? I don't know. But, like, when I came out, I started getting, like, emotional. Like, I started getting, like, teary-eyed
Yeah.
when I saw your mom. I don't know, like that moment was, it was so strange, like so strange to have those feelings of like awkwardness, but also like my heart pounding.
Yeah, no, I was also nervous because when I walked in, normally when you're like in an Asian household or a South Asian household, you take your shoes off. So I took my shoes off, my nice ass shoes.
Yeah.
I took them off and I walked to the couch, and then everybody's looking at me. They're like, "Why'd you take your shoes off? What's
I mean,
going
yeah,
on?"
it looks kind of weird 'cause it's like, why?
Yeah, and I was just nervous. I was like thinking a million different things on how this whole ordeal is going to go through.
Yeah.
Especially because, you know, we had a dinner with our parents, but this was kind of like the second time where they were really getting together and talking to
Yeah.
each other.
So it was kind of like actually in your face, but my dad started sobbing, and when my dad started sobbing, it was like a whole train of crying all the way around. Like my dad, oh my god, this man, when this man cries, it's a done deal for everyone.
Your dad is so wholesome. I remember
So
once
precious.
my dad gave his speech, and then my mom asked your mom for like the official confirmation, and then both your parents gave that confirmation. Then your dad just, once we got up to hug, he just broke down. Like he didn't break down crying or anything, guys. He just was trying to talk, but his voice was cracking up.
Yeah.
And to see in that moment like the love that he had for you, it really was kind of surreal for me, because in a sense it felt like, you know, he's like, this is something that like he trusts you. What am I saying? In that moment it felt like he's handing over his heart basically, and it really just weighed down on me at that moment.
Yeah. And this was November of 2022, the end of November of 2022. All right, let's fast forward. We agreed we're getting married. Now we are planning like from the end of November till like probably by February. We're planning the actual nikah ceremony, which is the religious and legal confirmation that we're getting married. Now, this whole process, we wanted our nikah to be small. It did not turn out to be small. We ended up having 500, 600 people attend.
Yeah.
Because I'm the oldest daughter, you're the oldest son. There was a lot of Bengali politics that were playing into stuff. So
Yeah.
because of that, we were kind of forced to have this really big event. But I was able to kind of make it what I wanted it to be. Which before then, this is now February of 2023. Then we had our proposal. So you proposed because,
Yeah.
like I said, it's not all oh my God, surprise proposal. Obviously, we were getting married. We went to go get the papers that we were going to get married.
Okay, so let me break it down. The Baat Baki was basically a sort of proposal from my family to her family. The proposal in February was an individual proposal
Yeah.
from me to her. She always wanted it, could you say a Western proposal, basically?
Yeah.
In a way, that's what it is. And she always wanted that, and so.
Because I like romance. I like the romance on the TV.
And you know what? We decided to do our engagement shoot the same day.
Yeah.
So I
So
picked her up,
bold.
decked out in my suit, and she came out of the door in what is it
It's like a Hollywood glam.
Hollywood, yeah.
Like an old Hollywood glam look, which I mean, I didn't agree on. I didn't say no either, I was kind of do whatever you want.
I was like, Sam, you popped out, and those gifs where they have hearts pulsating in the eyes. That's how I was at that moment.
Yeah.
You look so
And you
freaking good.
looked really good too.
So we drive, we do our little engagement shoot.
Yeah.
And on the way, so I had her friends set up the entire proposal thing. It was a little setup that I got. Guys, it doesn't need to be grand. You know, you can get everything off of Amazon or Etsy if needs be. You guys don't need to go crazy for a proposal. That's what I did, and I thought it came out beautiful.
Yeah,
But
it was so beautiful. It was like by Jersey City, like the pier on Jersey City, which had like some sentimental like memories.
Yeah.
So it was like really nice that like you chose that area.
yeah, so I forgot what restaurant it was called, to be honest. But
Cochinos or I don't know.
honestly, I forgot what restaurant it was called.
I know the restaurant we ate at across the street that was fire, literally fire. No, that
Fire
place
Nook.
is so good.
So good. But so I parked the car far away, and she's in heels, and it's brick cold
yeah,
outside.
I was like really mad. Like you really made me walk mad far, and then of course like if you like of course like in the corner of my eye like I'm seeing like the proposal set up. So it's like I had to pretend like, oh wow, I don't know what's going on.
She knew what was going on, obviously, but
Yeah.
the thing is, I'm dumb. So
Yeah, and I always find out surprises. I feel like it's so hard for people to actually surprise me with things. It's really difficult.
So I'm dumb. So I parked mad far away. I didn't know the restaurant had a parking lot. And now I'm dragging her through the cold in heels. We get to the proposal area, you know, and do our little thing, walk down the aisle with the candles, and I get down on one knee. And I remember it like it was yesterday, that you were just staring down at me, and I felt like your eyes weren't like getting watery, but even though you weren't surprised, you were standing there as if it was some kind of moment that you didn't expect it to be.
Yeah.
How did you feel in that moment?
It was just a very beautiful moment. I think it was just like everything you kind of like think in your head of what romance is and like what a proposal is. And like in that moment, I felt that. So it was such an amazing feeling because like all my closest friends were there. My brother was there. My cousin was there. And it was such a beautiful moment. I think like just the togetherness of it. It was freaking freezing.
It was.
But I think it was just like so beautiful for what it was. Like just like what a beautiful memory.
It was a beautiful memory, and I would propose to you 1,000,000 times over.
Wow. Why,
Even
thank you.
even if it's brick cold outside.
Wow. Now that's romance.
That's romance.
Okay,
Alright.
so let's move on to the Hulud nights. So a Hulud night is essentially a pre-wedding celebration. So right after the proposal, we got married March 3rd. Like our nikah was March 3rd.
Yeah.
So still that same last week in February, you had a pre-wedding celebration. And anytime someone gets married from my family, we go hard.
Yeah.
Like all the women in my family, like they make something called pitas, which are kind of like dessert type breads or just like really intricate detailed desserts that is sent to his house, and like you send the groom a bunch of gifts, you send the groom's family a bunch of gifts. So we had about 40 boxes. It was so insane. Everybody was over, and I think those are the memories that you always cherish of like your entire family, like all the girls, all the cousins and nephews all coming over, helping out with all these decorative boxes. And I'll show you a photo. I was literally standing my tiny ass with like 40 something boxes, all deliveries for your house. And then we packed it up the night before. The next day, all the boys came over because none of the girls can go. I mean, obviously, there's no rule to that. It's just like our cultural stuff. And, the bride can't go visit the house either. So all my nephews, all my siblings, like all the guys in my family came, got all the boxes, and then drove to Long Island and delivered those boxes. And then you guys were turning up.
We turned up. Wait, but before we turned up, all your nephews, cousins, they all popped out crazy. They came through black kurtas, wearing half of them were wearing shades, and they came out looking like the Men in Black, but the desi version. It was insane. Everybody was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
Like the amount of family that came through. we were surprised. We
Yeah.
didn't expect that at all. We were thinking it's gonna be a small thing, and then each one of them is holding a pita box, and they're just putting. There's no room, so literally my living room floor was full of pita boxes,
Yeah.
and all my relatives, all my family, they were just looking at the amount, and we're just going, what is going on right now?
Yeah, we were so jealous because like my brother and like my nephews are sending me videos of everyone turning up at your place, and me and my cousin and my mom were just sitting in the back like, damn, like I want to turn up too. But you guys like had such a good time.
Yeah, so basically that was the dolki. And upstairs, the girls, they were doing their little dolki thing. You know, they had a little drum. They were sitting in a circle, and they were, they were doing their little dolki. And
Yeah.
downstairs, us guys, we had a speaker. We put on the tunes. We were just going off. We were doing bhangra. We were going crazy down there. And
Yeah.
that basement was so lit that some of my family came downstairs and turned up. And I remember, like, clearly my mom and dad coming downstairs and they're jamming with us, and like that was the first time I've seen my dad and my mom dance.
Yeah.
Like for real.
And that was just the appetizer because his parents turned up like crazy throughout all 9 events. That was just the appetizer. But then a few days after your event, then we had one of my events. We had like my at-home hulud, and basically I had to get dressed up in like the full traditional Bengali outfit. And everybody was over, your family came, and then at some point you crashed my event, and I will never forget this. My aunt, she is the best cook in the family. Like, she was featured in like a cooking show like in Bangladesh. Her food is like top level, right? She makes me this like Bengali chicken roast. And if you know anything about Bengali culture, you know the chicken roast is like the symbol of you getting married. And it is one of the most delicious things you can eat. He came, crashed my own party. I didn't even get to eat my own chicken roast. You ate my chicken roast.
Okay, I have to defend myself here because nobody warned me. Nobody told me that that's your chicken roast.
Yeah.
They just presented it to me, and I'm like, damn, this is some bomb ass food. I'm gonna dig in right now. Like this is looking crazy. And I just went straight for it. And then afterwards, you were all huffing and puffing, like, you ate my chicken roast. And I'm like, whoa.
Because it's such a symbolic
no
thing.
idea.
It's like, you know you're getting married. You're going to go for the chicken roast. And then, it wasn't there.
But
I didn't even eat that day.
I'm sorry. But, that chicken roast was really good.
What was really cool of something your family did was they brought out the drums and had the dolki too. And I think it was so cool because like Bengalis, we don't have dolki nights.
Yeah.
So it was such an interesting experience seeing all the women in your family perform the songs and like play the drums. Like my family loved it so much. It was such a beautiful moment. I think at that moment I was like, wow, like this is just something in the Bengali and Pakistani culture coming together that was just so beautiful.
Especially when once my family started playing the drum, the little tiny drum, and then your family, they joined in. I forgot who started singing from your side.
Yeah,
but somebody,
my cousin.
Her cousin started singing, and I was like, wow, this is like the merging of two cultures coming together right now, and it's so sick.
Yeah. All right, well, that was super fun. And then we have our actual wedding day. Here it comes to the wedding day. Now, that March 3rd was when we got married. It was chaotic. It was chaos. Like, when I tell you, me and him, we didn't hire a wedding coordinator because it was just everything was getting so expensive that we had to make like some cuts somewhere. But it was just so chaotic in the sense that we were literally coordinating our own wedding. And things were delayed. And like even in our first look, that's when people started coming in. And it's not like it ruined the moment, but I was just starting to get frustrated. And then it was just like no one knew what to do at all at any point.
The thing about it was that I think that's when we realized how necessary a wedding coordinator is when it's an event of that size.
Yeah.
We had no experience.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, you've had your home parties,
Yeah,
which
but
get a
also,
little large.
I've never even
but
been to a wedding that was that size, like that went normal, like fine too. Like I've been to other
Yeah.
really big weddings, but the thing is, like I was just a guest. Like here, I'm the bride, and you're the
Yeah.
groom. Like we're trying to like get stuff down.
Yeah, I clearly remember getting there about half an hour early and getting myself ready in the dressing room, whatever. They're taking shots of you, and now I'm like just scrambling just to find a person just to get some water.
Yeah.
I even asked a waiter like twice
Yeah.
in the venue to get me some water. Nobody brought me
Yeah.
a single sip of water, and I'm just dehydrated.
Yeah.
I'm like mentally a wreck because this is going to be one of the most not profound, I don't even know what word to use right now, but like one of the greatest moments of my life, and I'm literally dying.
Yeah, and it's just like it's difficult when you're the oldest sibling and like your younger siblings just always rely on you, so it's like their brains don't work like in this time, and
They
like
don't.
our parents' brains were not working. Like it was kind of just everybody was so overwhelmed, but they didn't know how to do anything in that moment. Like no one, like our siblings never had the personalities to kind of step up
Yeah.
and take control of a situation. And I say this, like our siblings are so lucky because their wedding events are going to go so smoothly because I'm so crazy. I make sure every single detail is on task and on time. Like if I could have just had two bodies of myself run around and do everything, I would have 100% done it and everything would have been executed. But too bad, I was the one getting married.
Yeah. So first look came. People are coming through, crashing into the door. We're doing the first look right in front of the door because it's a beautiful setup. And we have I think was it your dad or my dad or somebody outside blocking people from coming inside the venue, and we're trying to rush this first look. We get the first look done really quick, and we run to the elevator. And as we're running to the elevator, people are storming in through the doors.
Yeah.
Luckily, the elevator doors closed before people who weren't that close to the family were able to see you, because this is a moment where they're not supposed to see you.
Yeah. And then let's just move on to like the actual ceremony part.
Okay, so ceremony. Let me get the walk down the aisle out of the way first, because I was walking down the aisle and I had a song that I wanted to be played.
Mind you, we hired like a cello player to play like Indian music.
Yeah, and my song did not come on at all. I'm halfway through my walk with silence, and nobody's quiet in the
and, like,
hall
nobody's
either.
saying anything, and that's the thing. Like nobody was making the effort. Like hello, announce the groom. Like it was like the cello player didn't get it. Like the DJ didn't get it. None of our families were saying anything. Like that's what like really was frustrating to me.
It really was frustrating. I remember myself walking down and I'm like, this is a little awkward right now.
But when you watch our wedding video, like you'll see none of this.
None of it.
You will see none of it. It looks like the most angelic event ever.
It really
Shout out to our videographer. Shout out to our photographer, because when you look at the photos and videos of that day, it you would never think the craziness, the anger, the yelling. Like I lost my voice at the end of the night. That's how much I was yelling from the stage.
I lost my voice too.
And then you sat like behind the flower guard.
Yeah, so then I sat behind the flower guard and I waited for you to come out.
And then when I was coming out, like I had to coordinate all my siblings of like how where to hold the drape, like the veil over my head. And it was just so messy.
If you watch the video, you'll notice that I think one of your brothers, he kind of like either like hits it against something or it almost falls, and I'm like, oh.
And then I'm the type of person where like you can see my emotions on my face, so I'm just like, try to be graceful, let me look down, but like I can't help my bitch face because like I'm getting annoyed.
You know what? You weren't the only one getting annoyed during your walk. I was getting just as annoyed.
Yeah.
Because I don't know who decided, but family members thought it was a great idea to start taking pictures with me because I'm up there by myself near the flower wall. Okay, let's go get a picture with him now before everybody else tries to get a picture with him.
They have no common sense.
I was just like no,
are
you
etiquette.
Serious? Like
no etiquette.
Really? But okay.
And then I finally walked down the aisle. I have like the veil covering my face. I'm sitting across from you. My heart is pounding. Like literally my heart was pounding.
I was literally zoomed into that flower wall.
Yeah.
My heart literally pounding. Nothing else in that room. Even though there was so much chatter going on, people did not quiet down for the imam. I remember that. But I also remember at the same time, none of that mattered in my head at that moment. It was just me, you, and the imam talking about all of our responsibilities and how
honestly I wasn't paying attention. I know I should have, but like I really wasn't listening
because
I was so in my head.
I get that, but I needed to focus on something.
Okay, and then we finally said I do. We signed the papers. You came through the flower wall. You held my hand. That was like, oh my god, you holding my hand in front of everyone. And then we walked onto the stage. We did the photo stuff. We did the photo bit, whatever. Did we eat? We took like one bite of food because we didn't even get to eat till like 11 o'clock. The food was cold.
The food was cold, ice cold.
Like I took a bite and I was like, get out of here. I'm not going to eat. I'd rather just have the adrenaline pumping in me. And then I whispered to you, I was like, I don't want to eat. I don't want to do this like bullshit little dinner where we're all pretending to sit here and smile and eat. I was like, I want to go dance. And then I will never forget this moment. You grabbed my hand and pulled me onto the dance floor. And I was like, oh my God. Like, because like brown people don't show love. They don't show any emotion.
They don't.
So it's like when you touched me in front of everyone, I was just shocked. And then we just danced the night away. We had such an amazing time.
You know what? I didn't even think about social norms in that moment when I held her hand to the dance floor. It was just like, now me and you are husband and wife. Like this is it's done. It's a done deal now. Like this is good.
And then do you want to tell everyone what happened right after, like as soon as the event was over?
Oh, of course. We got hit by a hurricane.
Yeah, literally, out of all the times, it was raining heavy.
It was pouring out there.
And then where did you take me? Where did you take me?
I took you to a lounge.
You took me to a hookah lounge.
I had to. There was nothing else open at that time of night. Neither of us wanted to go home. And also, we weren't allowed to go home with each other. Well, technically we are allowed to go home with each other,
like,
but it was culturally we weren't at this moment because we didn't decide to do the barat and the nikah on the same day.
Yeah.
So I took you to a lounge. That's where all my friends were hanging out, and I wanted to see my boys. I wanted to see my boys at the end of the night real quick, and right after that we went to the club. You took me to the club. So
no, we didn't go to the club. We went to go get gyro.
Okay, we went to go get gyro and then we went to the club.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we did.
Oh, we did. I lied. We did go to the club. The bouncer tried IDing me. Yo, I'm out there with my whole wedding outfit. I'm like, excuse me, I just got married. Like, I don't have my ID on me. Like, what do you want me to say? And he was just like standing there. And I'm like, hello, can you just like let me in? It's not that serious. Like, I just got married. And then finally, like, I was let in. I always have issues with bouncers. It doesn't matter.
Bouncers don't like you.
Bouncers don't like me because they don't believe I'm the age that I am.
They don't.
Anyways, whatever. Let's just get to our other events.
But right before we get to our other events, I just have one small thing. I want to emphasize the fact that while we were on that nikah stage, like after we got our signed the papers and we were on that stage getting our pictures done, we both of us, each one of us was literally standing up, going to the edge of the stage, yelling angrily to tell family members, pulling them up on stage, and then taking pictures. Like, that's how bad it was.
Yeah.
But okay, we can go on.
But also shout out to my cake. I literally got my dream cake in my life, like at that event. Like, I love that cake so much.
That cake, yo, everybody had a comment to say about that cake.
That cake was like beautiful.
People were coming up to me and they were like, "Is that cake real? Like, that's a 7-tier cake. Is that cake real?"
It was so beautiful. But yeah, that event happened in March. Let's get into our other events that were in June and July. And we spread it out for a reason, because obviously because I was in LA, we didn't want to have everything back to back because it would have just been too much.
It would have been insane. I can't even imagine doing that back to back.
Yeah, that's just like torture.
Literally the Mehndi and the Barat day, the wedding day, being together so close, that was absolutely insane.
Yeah. Okay. So then we had our Mehndi, which was the most fun event in my opinion, because everyone, like, we had a Bengali style Mehndi event, which is like the pre-wedding celebration where everybody on my side wears matching outfits. Everyone on your side wears matching outfits. There's dance performances. That was so amazing. Like, our dances generated millions of views, like, online.
They did. I practiced for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks.
Yeah. And then you forgot everything on our dance. I
zoned out.
Just all choreography, just like out the brain.
I was looking at you with a blank stare. I was trying to copy your moves, but they weren't translated well.
And like, I look back at the video and I'm like, damn, you really didn't know what you were doing.
I did not know. And I really practiced. That was the dance that I practiced the most. I practiced it more than our thing, than my thing.
Practice that much.
I did.
But that event was really fun. It started off a little rocky, but overall it was such a beautiful event. I came out on a boat. That was my entrance. Very iconic, like, because I felt like it represented my family, because like we're from a village that you can only travel by boat. So I thought it was cute, that I like arrived at my wedding event, like, on a boat.
She arrived on a boat, but she took 20 minutes doing it. So while she was arriving on a boat, me and everyone else on the dock is just like waiting, like, okay, when is she getting here? And while the boat is just swirling and twirling around, was the dude doing it on purpose?
Yeah, we were doing it on purpose because there was certain family that wasn't there yet.
Oh, okay, okay. That makes sense.
But that was like the most fun event.
It was. I mean, Mehndi vibes for desis, that's like, nothing can get greater than that.
That day, so for the Mehndi, we had a wedding coordinator. It was so insane how everything went perfect that day. Everything went smoothly on the wedding day. But then, here comes the reception, Barat day. Nothing went smoothly. Like, that was like a mess.
But I don't want to get into the Barat. I still have a few comments about the Mehndi. The dances, everyone's dances were so good. Yeah. Phenomenal. Like, your side killed it. Like, you guys,
because my side has professional dancers. And so their millions of views was very, very well deserved for them.
It was justified indeed. And I remember watching their dance, and I'm like they gotta be a team or something. Like, they gotta be practicing this every day. Yeah. And then I had my little dance with my group of friends, and honestly, we rehearsed all of that in 2 hours. So I am lying. I did not practice for weeks and weeks. It took 2 hours for us to rehearse all of that, but we got it done. We were all nervous, all of us. Yeah. Even though I'm the groom, I should be the most nervous. I'm calming down my boys. I'm like, listen, all you gotta do is get on stage, and you just gotta do 1, 2, 1, 2. That's it. And then you just move back. That's it.
Yeah. I wasn't nervous about my dance. It was more of like my makeup artist fucked up by not tying my outfit properly, and me and my mom, we kept telling her, like, do it properly. And then at a certain point, like, we're running late, so it's just like, like at a certain point, like when I was dancing, like that was my biggest fear, that like my dress kept on drooping, and it was just like really frustrating too. Like that was like really annoying.
But you killed it. That
was so
dress
heavy. It was so
was
heavy.
insanely heavy. Like
Yeah.
I remember picking it up a little bit,
Yeah.
and I was like, holy.
Bro, my can was like this big.
I was deadlifting that dress when I was picking it up,
I don't
and
even
you
know
were
how
dancing
I even
in it.
twirled. I don't even know, because like the onna was also like pulling my head back too. So it's like you have my dress drooping down, the veil pulling my head back at the same time.
Yeah.
It was a mess.
Okay, so on to the Barat.
On to the reception day.
What a mess.
I mean, it was
For
not
me,
a mess
what a
on my
mess.
side.
For me, what a mess.
It was. You guys were messy.
We were a little messy. So we started the Barat day, the wedding day, an hour late because I needed to get a car. I wanted to come in style. I went to go get a Bentley. So I drove myself out to Staten Island, and the dude is giving me mad hassle trying to get this car.
Don't be booking your cars from these shady ass brown people.
Yeah.
Like in the city. Like literally don't. Cause you were like, don't expose them. And I was being nice. I was like, fine, I won't. But like super unprofessional. Like the stuff that you had to deal with, mad unprofessional.
I'm not even gonna get that too much into it. I got the car finally. You know, I was rolled up in the Bentley, popped out on the top. The wedding video is looking sick.
Yeah.
We have a drummer, and she's a woman, which is something that's different. You know,
Yeah.
I've never seen that before personally.
Yeah,
And
she killed it.
She absolutely killed it. Everybody was telling me, they were like, yo, why didn't you book her for longer? You guys should have let her play for longer, because they were loving her. Like, she was hyping up the crowd.
We were running late. So.
Yeah, I know, but it is what it is. But she did amazing. I get to the front of the door, and now it's
The guard. It's time for the gate ceremony.
it's time for the gate ceremony.
The gate ceremony is essentially where he has to haggle a certain amount of money in order to be let in. So like he has to agree with my brother that he's going to give a certain amount to my family, or else he can't even get through the door.
Yeah. And man, they were running my pockets dry out there.
Yeah. And I was in like the bridal room just sitting, waiting. And the gate ceremony is so fun. Like if you ever been
really
to like
fun.
a desi wedding, it is one of the most chaotic, fun parts of like a wedding, especially when it's close family. So I was like, oh, I can't wait to see the videos right after.
Yeah, but you know, because we were an hour late, and because we were a little messy because of that, everybody was hungry. So everybody was just trying to push their way into the venue at this point, and they were not waiting for the gate ceremony. So at some point, somebody had to tell your brother, I think, like, yo, like, you gotta start wrapping this up. Or I think your brother kind of got an idea, like,
Yeah.
okay, like, I gotta like situate it in a way where we finish wrapping this up, and
Yeah.
everybody can start getting in, because the whole crowd behind me was just pushing at the brim at this point.
Yeah.
We get
and then
that
you guys finally came in.
we get that in, finally come in, and I go to my dressing room, you're waiting in your dressing room.
And then you guys enter with you and your family.
Yeah.
And then I have my entrance, another different entrance. I pop out the door. Like, I pop out the wall, sorry. Like, I pop out the wall. A staircase comes down. I come down to the Game of Thrones entrance.
Game of Thrones entrance,
Violinist playing Game of Thrones. It was so good. It was so good. And then
it was magical.
We
It was
got
regal.
into the middle of the dance floor. Me and my dad, we did a first dance, and then you kind of came in. Then we did our little first dance. I started tearing up, like, because the song was just so beautiful in the background.
I remember that.
And then, yeah, we just went through the events. Like, we had speeches, we had CO2 guns, pew, pew, pew. And it was,
wow, you're just speed running this wedding right now.
Yeah, because like we were running out of time. Like we had to get through one thing and the other.
Yeah, it was like that.
And then And then dance party through the bouquet. We also had like a weird random dessert bit.
The dessert bit was really weird. So basically,
random.
they brought out tables full of dessert and they gave us sparklers. And now we have these sparklers and we're waving them around. And the Crazy Frog theme song is playing in the background, and we're just like, everybody's like, okay, this is pretty cool.
For like, the first 10 to 30 seconds.
10 to 30 seconds. We're like, okay, yeah, we're having fun.
But then they're playing the full version of Crazy Frog, like the full 3 minutes of Crazy Frog.
Oh my goodness.
And at some point we were looking at each other, we're like, okay, like, can we stop now?
And at some point, I was looking over every other second. Like, can somebody tell them to stop?
I was looking over at like all my friends, and I was like, "Can you like tell them to stop or something?"
It was a split decision in the crowd. Half of them, loved it, loved it, and the other half were confused.
Yeah.
But the Barat, I honestly, even though the beginning was messy, once me and you were on stage taking pictures and then finally going through the motions of the whole planned event, it was really nice. It was such a beautiful memory, such a beautiful event, our dance. And, before, like, even just a little tidbit on all of the events, my first look for each event, like, not my first, our first look for each event was honestly something that I will always remember. That's one of my core memories.
Yeah, those were so magical too. Like those moments where we first saw each other, every single event.
Every single event.
Because like our outfits were just so good.
Outfits aside, you looked like the most beautiful woman in the universe at each event. And each event, I remember when the nikah was, I was like, she can't top this. And then you come out from the mehndi and you're like looking all colorful, and I'm like, wow, like this is just equally on par. And then for me personally, when you came out in your Barat look, I was just blown away.
So many people online hated my reception look,
but I was blown away.
And
I loved it.
Listen, I get the whole matching thing. I feel like I need to say this because people still talk about it. I get the whole matching thing, but at the end of the day, like I am a Bengali girl who's doing a Bengali wedding. I had to wear the gold. Like I had no choice. Like it's literally tradition and like custom in my family to wear like shit loads of gold. Like, okay, it didn't match the dress, that's fine, but like I had to have some type of like wear your family gold, wear my family gold, like there was more meaning behind than just the look too.
Honestly, I don't agree with any of the comments. I thought it fit well. I thought it fit perfectly, actually.
It was very royal.
Yeah,
very royal.
I thought the look was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
So that's just like a little tidbit that I have on the side. I'm
definitely going to wear my wedding dress again. Hell yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, I will. Those dresses were so beautiful. Like, I can't wait to rewear all those dresses.
And she not saying it, but, I was looking a little dashy myself.
Oh my God, your wedding outfits, holy shit. Like, they were so beautiful. Like, I loved all your outfits so much. And my family's very honest. They would tell me if you looked ugly.
Oh my goodness.
All my relatives, they would tell you straight up. Like they would say it because brown people have no chill. They will say if someone looks ugly or not. But everybody complimented you.
Yeah. My favorite one was honestly that black sherwani that I wore on the Barate. I was just like, damn. Like,
you definitely need to wear that again. I don't know when. But you're definitely going to wear that again.
I will. Okay, so on to the walima.
Okay. No, the next day.
Oh, yeah, the next day. Okay.
The next day wasn't, like, too much. The next day was, like, there's, like, a little custom that happens that my brother comes with, like, gifts to, like, bring me back home. Like, you had a bunch of relatives come over that day to kind of, see the new bride and have sweets and lunch and stuff.
I only remember, or maybe I'm getting this confused, but I remember coming over and everybody was looking at me like, what are you doing here? Was that not the next day?
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't remember that.
I remember that. they told me that I wasn't supposed to come and that you guys were supposed to do a big dinner or a big feast for me or something like that.
No.
No?
I don't know.
Okay.
But we did end up having a really big feast at the house. We had another chicken roast, so I got to eat the chicken roast this time.
You did get to eat the chicken roast.
But it was really funny because like everybody wanted you to pay them for like different services.
Oh.
That was so hilarious.
You know what? That's what I'm getting. There's so many events. That's why I'm getting these dates confused and the events mixed up in my head. So the date that I'm talking about is right after the nikah. I show up at her house, basically, you know, just to say like, hey, you know, hi, how's it going to the parents, to her and everything. Yes. And they were like, no, what are you doing here? And they couldn't kick me out of the house, so they brought me in. And
I was like, I'm trying to hang out with my husband. What do you mean?
And they brought me in, but they were like, you were not supposed to show up.
You had to pee. That's why you came in.
Yeah, exactly. That was it. But now I remember the event after the wedding day. That day was so fun. Not only okay. Once again, her family ran my pockets dry, but the feast that they had set up for me...
That was so fun.
It was so fun. Yeah. Like, the food, absolutely amazing. And
I think July 4th.
It was July 4th.
So we had fireworks everywhere. So we had a dinner and we had a free show.
Yeah, we were setting up fireworks, you know, getting
Yeah, and my family goes hard. Like, we had, like, our fireworks were way better than the Macy's like parade.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I would say so.
But that was really fun. And then a few months later to September, we had our walima.
2 months later, at this point, we've already lived together for about a month and a half. Usually the walima is right after the wedding day. But as I said, these events being so close together was impossible. Not only was she living bi-coastal, but at the same time to plan and get each event situated is already so insane. So we had that 2 months later. Both of us flew back, and I popped out in a tux and you popped out in the most gorgeous dress ever. It was like
really nice dress. It was like a
greenish dress.
Green crystal dress.
Yeah.
It was really pretty.
And what I want to say is, and this is just a real moment that we had, and is that not everything during these events is all happy. You're not having the most fun time all the time.
Yeah, I was like cursing you out.
Yeah.
I was cursing my parents out. Like, so, I wasn't being a bridezilla on purpose. It was like things were not going correctly. And because like I have anxiety, and also when you're a bride, like in these situations, like you feel like a lot of people actually don't care about you. Like people don't ask like what you need, how you're doing. So there were so many moments where I felt like it was everybody was worried about everything else around and what was happening. But it was like, yeah, but I'm the one who's getting married. And that was like the frustrating part, that sometimes like, you know, you're wanting to do things, or like you wanted things to go a certain way, and then things are just kind of all against you. And because of that, like I get extreme anxiety in like big moments like those. So it's like if something was going wrong, like my body was just like shutting down, and like that's when I was like, like I need everything to go according to plan.
Yeah, and I think in a moment like the walima day, both of us got into a bit of an argument beforehand. We were a bit upset, and it's not as if I want to say nothing was my fault or anything like that, but I do feel like when we circle back to that conversation of our families really just not understanding what to do, I feel like if they could have, they helped out so much.
Yeah.
They were a major part of everything. But there were certain moments where I felt like
when it came to the actual day of execution, that's when everyone kind of froze up.
Yeah,
it was like, oh, I talk this game, I do all this, I'm planning all this, and then the performance is here, and then I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, like our Mehndi dance and now me being up there.
Yeah, exactly.
But so yeah, we got into a little bit of a thing before our event, and we had our walima shoot right before the event. But me personally, once we were having our shoot, even though we just got into this argument and both of us were upset, it didn't feel like that for me, because I still felt like running around on that beach, getting our photos taken, and just living this once in a lifetime dream of me being in a tux and you being in this glamorous dress.
Yeah, your tux was so nice.
Yeah, like it was just such a core memory in how everything really wrapped up at the end of the day, and I didn't want it to continue into the event. And I think that's like maybe a stepping stone in terms of us and our relationships. Like, we understand, I think, to a certain degree on how both of us are, where our limits are in terms of how stressed we can get in a situation like that.
It was definitely an experience. I think what was also kind of annoying is that we didn't get to like go to our own photo booth.
Yeah.
We didn't get to eat like our own wedding cake. We didn't get to like eat food and like certain events, like those kind of things. I mean, it is what it is now, but like those points were disappointing because we didn't have anyone kind of like checking in on us or like taking care of us in that aspect.
Yeah. It definitely was. I'm not going to brush apart those points for sure. But when you look back at the pictures, when you look back at the videos, when you think about the memories, that kind of just gets pushed in the back.
Because you're focused on the positives.
Yeah. And honestly, I love that it's focused on the positives.
Yeah. Okay, to finish this all off, what was your favorite event?
My favorite event? The Mehndi.
Yeah. The Mehndi was my favorite.
It was the
too.
Mehndi.
Yeah.
I was drenched in sweat.
Everybody was dancing. We had the conga line. It was just so fun. And it was at the venue I wanted. It was like perfect.
The conga line. Okay, when she means the conga line, I specifically had on the DJ song list Rail Gaddi as the last song. Maybe you're not aware, but that's like a traditional thing where everybody gets into formation and does a little conga line.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, a little conga line thing.
I was like, oh, this is so random.
Yeah, that's that's the reason why we did that. And it was awesome. We had everyone do it.
Yeah.
Everyone in that room.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of anything. Okay, what is your thoughts, like, people, I guess, like, now with wedding culture, it is so huge in the sense of, it's very flashy and, like, you have the pressure of doing a big wedding. Do you think, like, people should be doing big weddings? Should they do small weddings? Like, what is your opinion on it? Because a lot of people thought we were being flashy, and it's like we weren't being flashy. It was more of like our families wanted this, and we also wanted it too, because like we're both like traditional people that wanted certain things. So I don't feel bad about having a big wedding at all.
Having a big fat desi wedding has its pros and its cons for sure. Personally, I believe that at the very least you should try to budget as much as possible. Don't go out of your bounds.
Yeah.
You don't need to have a big wedding to have a great time.
Yeah, definitely not.
You definitely don't need that. But I loved each and every one of our events. But if certain events were smaller, I wouldn't have minded.
Yeah, same.
I wouldn't have minded in the slightest, actually. I think that having a big fat desi wedding is actually, in my personal opinion, not the correct option for everyone. I think the opposite, where
it's not for everyone.
Yeah,
and
it's
like
not for everyone.
Don't feel pressured to do it
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, we lost the fight with our parents.
we did.
We lost the fight. Like,
And everyone will be like, it's your wedding. You can control it however, which way you want to do
yeah.
it.
But if people are paying for it and you're not the one who's paying for it, like, there are some things that, like, you do have to compromise with.
You do.
Yeah.
You do have to compromise at the end of the day, especially when, at the end of the day, it's a South Asian family. We're desis. We work not only on an individual basis, but on a family basis. So it's two families coming together.
Yeah. And then also, like, what would be your biggest tips for, like, grooms?
Grooms?
Yeah, like, what is your advice for, like, incoming grooms?
For incoming grooms, okay, so for incoming grooms, one tip is that whoever you choose to help you on your day of, make sure they're responsible, make sure they get stuff
Make
done.
sure they're not your sibling.
Make
That's introverted as fuck. Had social anxiety.
No, so you know what I have to say is that even though my brothers were lost on the day of the events, there were certain moments where they helped out.
Yeah, and they stepped up. Yeah,
and they stepped up, and I was like, wow.
And
like,
your sister did an amazing job too.
She did, and
like
all
I
my
said,
siblings.
they did great. But when it came to, like, you know, putting their feet down and doing things, both of our siblings got nervous.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so back to the groom tips. Make sure that the best man that you choose, or not even the best man, just a group of people that you choose to take care of you on the day of, they're responsible enough to get stuff done for you. Like, if you need some water, they getting you some water.
Mm-hmm.
If you need to get from one point to another point without having a huge obstacle in front of you, they get that done. Like, shit gets done if they're around. I didn't have that. I did not have that. And as much as my friends will be like, oh, you know, like, you could have given us a call or told us to do this or that.
Yeah.
I don't think it was viable enough for them to do that. For example, on the nikah day, you know, I kind of gave that responsibility to my brothers, and then on the mendi and the reception day, now we have a wedding planner who's handling a bunch of things. But at the same time, would I have wished if a few of my friends were more involved? Yeah, I definitely would have. I
was luckily, like, my close group of girlfriends, like, they were 100% involved, and they were really extremely helpful for, like, the things that I needed at that moment. So I'm very grateful for that. So they were in my bridal suite, and then they would go up and down to check on me and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was really happy about that. And then, like, my cousins and stuff. So they were really helpful. But I would say, like, for brides, like, definitely, like, do your research on who you hire for your makeup, hair, mehendi, because, oh my God, like, when I tell you, I can't believe I sat down for 8 to 9 hours getting henna done. I can't believe I did that. Like, I don't know what kept me alive during those 8 to 9 hours as I was getting my whole arms and my feet done.
That sounds like torture.
And just sitting in a makeup chair for like 4 to 5 hours for multiple events. Like, make sure whoever you book, like, make sure, like, they vibe with you, because, like, one of my makeup artists, I did not vibe with her as much as, like, the other ones I hired.
Yeah.
But that was because, like, my mom suggested it, and because, like, our wedding stuff was happening in that July 4th weekend, so a lot of people were being booked up.
Yeah.
Ahead of time. So definitely do your research. Also, as a bride, like, put yourself in an environment where you're not near anyone that pisses you off. Like, if they piss you off on the daily, make sure you're not near them. There were moments where I was, like, near my mom, and, like, I know me and her, we, like, get at it, but especially, like I said, in these big pressure situations, like, I just get so anxious, and there were so many times where we were near each other, and I was like, oh my God, like, I need to get the fuck out of here, because, like, I just can't be around anyone right now. So definitely
get that.
Like, definitely don't put yourself in a situation where you're like, don't be near anyone. Like, literally, like, whoever you book as a makeup artist, like, make sure it's just you. Like, my only mistake was that me and my mom, we ended up going to the same person. Like, that's the only thing, like, I really wish we didn't do, but I didn't book that. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't know she was also going to go to the same makeup artist till the day of.
I think going back to that, like, being by yourself thing, it really does play a part. Like, you need, like, 5 minutes. Even as a group, you need 5 minutes to yourself away from everyone.
Yeah. Just like, peace
isolated
and quiet.
and really take it all in, really take every minute of the moment and of the event that you're in, because it's a lot. It's it's your big day, and it's a lot to go through.
Yeah, and if there's something you really, really want and you really want to do, just put it in your forefront so you just remember you're doing it. Like, for an example, like, when I wanted my cake, like, I made sure that priority was I was going to get the cake that I wanted, and there was nothing that was going to stop me on that.
Yeah. Back to my advice regarding my friends and best men and all that. Some of my closest family members, my cousins, they did phenomenal. So they were that part of me. They were that group for me that really stuck it out and were there for me for every minute of the day during that process. And as a groom, I can't appreciate them more than enough for just helping me and guiding me through everything. So really have those people there for you. Be isolated for a few minutes if you can, and really take the moment in, and also enjoy.
Yeah, try to enjoy yourself.
Enjoy your own event.
I know, obviously, it sounds weird. Like, why wouldn't you enjoy your own wedding? I'm a high stress person. So it's like everything brings me stress. Like, just breathing brings me stress. So it's like, for me, I had to remind myself constantly, like, okay, like, this is fun. Like, you're having fun. And if you're like that type of person, you have to constantly remind yourself that you're having a good time, or tell people that you're close to, hey, make sure they're asking you if you're having a good time, because little things like that really do, like, make the day for you, because, as a desi bride, you're sitting there for hours. There's just so much, like, on you, and sometimes it's high pressure when you're not comfortable with all these eyes on you, or like you're just looking around on that stage and people are just coming up to you and you have social anxiety sometimes. Like, it could be a lot for a lot of people. Like,
it can be.
I literally had adrenaline in me that got me through everything. Like, the disassociation and adrenaline were my keys of getting through everything.
Yeah. Overall though, each and every event had its own charm to it.
Yeah. I wouldn't change it for the world. Even all the mess.
I wouldn't change it either.
Yeah.
And you have anything else to say?
I don't know. Them weddings, they're hard. They're hard to deal with. They're huge. But let me tell you this. The first wedding you go to after you're married, oof, what a piece of cake. What a piece of cake.
Wow. We recently went to a wedding as guests, and to not deal with anything at all except to take pictures and to eat and to enjoy.
That's a different feeling.
That was a blessing, actually.
Yeah.
It was amazing. But yeah, that's all I got.
That's all we got. I'm Shumpa.
And I'm Furkan.
And this is Coffee versus Chai, and we'll see you next time.